Our next speaker is Alalia Lundy. Alalia is an AI learning facilitator and an enterprise AI enablement partner who builds AI powered learning systems for organizations and facilitators. She has over 20 years of experience in agile coaching and facilitation, and she helps professionals become AI enabled by combining facilitation, strategy, and AI to transform how ideas are explored, decisions are made, and learning is delivered at scale. She's a founder of AI Power Up, and her talk today is Designing the AI-Enabled Workforce, What HR Must Rethink Now. Please welcome Alalia Lundy.
Good morning. And as you just heard, my name is Alalia Lundy, and I am your AI learning facilitator. And today I want to talk about AI from an HR and workforce perspective, not from a tools perspective. A lot of AI conversations focus on what the technology can do. My focus is different. I want us to look at what organizations need to rethink about work itself. Because AI is not just changing productivity, it is changing how people think, how they work together, and what it takes to sustain performance over time. To see why this matters, we first need to look at how AI is reshaping human work itself. AI is not simply automating tasks, it is reshaping the nature of human work across three dimensions. First, how we think. Cognitive load, decision-making, and the amount of analysis required are shifting. Second, how we collaborate. Team structures, communication patterns, and coordination are evolving. And third, how we sustain performance. Focus, energy, and resilience now require much more deliberate organizational support. This is why this is not just a technology conversation. It is a work design conversation. Let's ground that in one of the clearest signs that the system is already under strain. According to Microsoft's Work Trend Index, 68% of employees say they struggle with the pace and volume of work. That statistic matters because it tells us the pressure is already here. AI raises output expectations faster than most organizations can redesign the work around them. So even when tools become faster, the work environment does not automatically become healthier. Speed without structure creates strain. And when organizations add AI on top of already overloaded systems, they often intensify the problem instead of solving it. And when pace increases without redesign, we start to see the human impact very quickly, such as reported burnout and weekly overwhelm. What's important is not just the numbers, it's what they signal about how work is being experienced. As tools get faster, the expectation is often that work should feel easier. But for many employees, it's actually becoming more intense. The pace is increasing, the volume is increasing, and the system around that work hasn't adjusted. So what we're seeing here are not just performance signals, they're workforce health signals. One major contributor to that strain is the growing fragmentation of attention. Attention is now one of the scarcest resources at work. People are constantly switching between tools, tasks, and contexts. And every switch comes with a cost. It takes time to reorient, it drains mental energy, and it reduces the quality of thinking and decision-making. AI has the potential to reduce this if it simplifies the workflows. But when it's layered on top of existing systems without redesign, it can actually increase fragmentation, adding more tools, more steps, and more verification. So productivity is no longer just about output, it's about cognitive costs required to produce that output. That brings us to the core issue underneath all of these signals. This is a work design gap. This is not an AI capability issue. It's that organizations are adopting AI faster than they are redesigning the work around it. And that creates a gap between what tools can do and what people can realistically sustain. That gap shows us pressure, inefficiency, and overload. It shows up as those things. And more importantly, this is not just a skills issue, it's a structural issue. So if the gap is structural, the next question is, What in our current design is creating it? One of the biggest drivers of that gap is how we've defined our roles. Most job structures were built for stability, clear responsibilities, predictable work, and defined boundaries. AI changes that. Work becomes more dynamic, more fluid, and constantly shifting. But roles don't. So when dynamic work meets static roles, things start to break. That's why we're seeing this shift from static job models to capability-based design and from task lists to outcomes. And once roles start to shift, the value of human work shifts with them. As AI absorbs more routine cognitive tasks, the premium on human capability rises. Analytical thinking shifts from processes to framing and interpreting. Judgment becomes more important because humans remain accountable for the decisions. And human AI collaboration becomes a core competency. So the future of work is not less human, it's differently human. And that shift requires a specific capability that most organizations have not fully developed yet. A capability I believe is more important now more than ever. In an AI-enabled workforce, one of the highest value human contributions is facilitation. And I do not mean facilitation only in the traditional workshop sense. I mean the ability to structure discussions, frame the right questions, synthesize insight, and turn raw AI output into meaningful organizational action. This is the work of helping people think clearly together, especially in environments where AI can produce information quickly, but cannot create shared understanding or accountable decisions on its own. This is why facilitation is becoming a workforce capability, not just a meeting skill. So if work is changing and these capabilities matter more, what does HR need to do differently? The first shift is from training to enablement. Traditional training often happens outside the flow of work. The AI changes too quickly for organizations to rely only on formal learning moments. People need support in the moment of need. They need guidance and tools while doing the work, not weeks before or after. That means building playbooks and guardrails, helping teams understand how and when to use AI responsibly, and measuring behavior change rather than seat time. The question is no longer, did they complete the training? The question is, can they apply the capability in real work? The second shift is even more structural because it changes how we think about the jobs themselves. This slide is really about moving from roles to capability. Rigid job titles are a legacy of more stable work environments. AI demands something more modular, more adaptive, and more reusable. So instead of designing work around static job descriptions, we need to design around portable, transferable capabilities that can work across roles and contexts. That means updating job architecture, redesigning around reusable capabilities, and continuously reviewing what skills matter as AI evolves. Capabilities are more flexible than roles, and flexibility is exactly what AI-enabled environments require. And if we redesign around speed without redesigning for sustainability, we create a different kind of failure. 5 o'clock. The third shift is from productivity to sustainable performance. Maximizing short-term output is not a strategy if it comes at the expense of cognitive health, focus, or long-term engagement. Organizations that ignore this will eventually pay for it in attrition, errors, disengagement, and low-quality decision-making. So HR and leaders need to balance output with cognitive health, protect focus and recovery, and clarify what belongs to human work versus AI-supported work. Sustainable performance is not about slowing down innovation. It is about designing work so people can perform well over time. So how do you start applying this in a practical way? These 3 questions can anchor almost any work redesign conversation. First, What can AI assist with? Where does it add speed, scale, or accuracy? Second, what must the human own? Where are judgment, accountability, trust, and context non-negotiable? And third, what coordination is required? Where does human to human or human to AI orchestration matter most? Those three questions help move the conversation from hype to design. They help teams rethink roles, responsibilities, and support needs in a very practical way. And that brings us to the bigger leadership takeaway. AI is changing work whether organizations are ready or not. The real leadership challenge is not simply whether to adopt AI, it is whether leaders are willing to redesign the system intentionally around people and AI together. Sustainable performance depends on that redesign. The organizations that act on work design now will define what high performance looks like in the decade ahead, not because they've adopted the most tools, but because they built the most sustainable system. And everything I've shared today is grounded in current research. But more importantly, it's meant to give you a different lens for how to think about work. If this perspective is useful, I want to give you something you can take with you to continue that thinking. I'm sharing with you a free bonus for anyone who wants to continue the conversation. Apply these ideas more practically in your workspace. If this topic resonates with you, this is a way to go deeper into how to rethink work, capability, and AI enablement in a more hands-on way. I help organizations and HR leaders leverage AI to drive performance, empower people, and build future-ready workplaces. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Alelia, like Azalea. My friends and family call me Leia, like Princess Leia. If you forget, call me Princess. I promise you I'll answer.
All right, thank you so much, Alelia Lundy, for her talk, Designing the AI-Enabled Workforce, What HR Must Rethink Now. Remember that if you have any questions from this session, be sure to drop the questions in the Q&A box. Don't forget to download the resource that we're showing on the slide here. And if you would like to connect with Alelia, feel free to take a screenshot so you have the speaker's information. Once again, thank you so much, Alelia, for your presentation. We're going to move on now to our next speaker.